is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I represent Bahamian people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Baytown, bro. Where I from Baytown, bro. Right between West and Augusta, where them two roads meet, they call it Wilkinson Street. Manners and respect was like a sign blank check. It seems the ones that come in after quick to disrespect. You see, this life in the ghetto never easy. So many hungry days break till it grieve me. Way I doing the best I can, trying to turn my dollar to 100 grand. I represent the ghetto people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Baytown, bro. Where I from Baytown, bro. Don't take no back talk, no bribe or no joke. If you find fire, you definitely find smoke. Baytown, bro. Where I from Baytown, bro. Baytown, I say up and running. Caliban say my show boy don't ever give in. 7 years of farming, watch the crops them coming. True they see a humble thing, the lion sleeping. But they hating for no reason. Only God that I believe in, living. Watch them only pass through for a season. Cutlass, I go weed them. I represent the ghetto people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Baytown.
Good night, Bahamas. And welcome yet again to Guardian Radio. I am your host, Valentino Brand, aka Scoochie or Scrooge, or MP. And again, it's always a pleasure to be your host on this wonderful station. Telephone numbers tonight are 323-6232, 325-4316, and 325-4259. And you can text us, powered by BTC, at 422-GR96. Inside the Inner City is a show that comes on every Friday except holidays, and we talk about the problems that we face in this country and what the solutions are. Because as we take a look at our wonderful Nassau, which is supposed to be a Christian nation, meaning that we should have Christian values and virtues, and it means that also that we should leave no one behind. In the Bahamas today, we are one of the richest Caribbean countries in the world. Many would say we are not in the Caribbean. And there are a lot of opportunities here in Nassau and Providence, but the opportunities seems to be staying in one particular spot, and it's slowly trickling down to the lesser population, means the voters, the next generation, the less fortunate, the persons who are struggling to pay their bills. Many of them don't have house. Some of them are living day to day. Some of them are at risk, single parent. We have a society now where everyone is doing what they feel is right. And I think that is it was something that was building up in the last 50 years in the country. And now we are seeing full chaos in our country. And it's looking really bad for us when it comes to immigration, when it comes to crime, when it comes to corruption. It seems that even though our nation supposed to be a Christian nation, I don't think it's not so Christian about us sharing national providence. Now, mind you, there are many good people who are in the church who are really good citizens who uphold the integrity of being a Christian. You know, they're doing their due, and utmost respect to them. But for the overall, when it comes to what is happening in our country, and we so believe in God, we so believe in Jesus, and they say, you know, pray to God and all the problems will be solved. Many people do, and some of their problems get solved. But again, the church itself was built on the fundamentals of, again, leaving no one behind. That was the church obligation was. It was always to gather the tithes, gather it up, and disperse it to those in need. You know, gather from the wealthy Christians, gather from them who sit down in the front row seat, the second row seats, understanding that there are people out there who are hurting real bad in the country. And our job is, once we succeed, and succeeding is like it's like an example I'm going to give. We had a young gentleman by the name of V.J. Edgecombe who fulfilled his dream of becoming a professional NBA player. He has accomplished that. But when you look at what he had to go on through to get where he is, you would see that his inspiration was Buddy Hield. You know, you saw a photo of him when he was young, meeting Buddy. And, you know, Buddy himself was on his way to the NBA, or could have been in the NBA in that photo. But regardless, I think he was in the NBA, but regardless of college. But regardless, if he was in college or in the NBA, this inspired that young guy, you know. And you never know what Buddy did for him, personally and financially. You know, some of his earnings could have gone to sending them funds to get better training equipment. And just look how it turned out. Now he is making like close to what it is, I think, $40 million for a rookie contract. And that's uplifting. And there are many cases like that. Chris Brown, you know, all the great athletes, you know, they give back to the next generation. Some of them don't need financially. Some of them do by prep talking. Some do by, you know, turning them on to other players and trainers who could assist them in getting better at whatever they're doing. You know, and we have really failed in this country. You know, besides we having election around the corner, as we gear up for the election. But right now, for me, who live in the inner city community, and I look at the progress the country is making. You know, the country is making great progress in many major developments. You know, when it goes to Exuma, Freeport, Honorable Prime Minister, he has got a lot of infrastructure in the buildings, and you know, so it's looking bright as business-wise for the country. You know, and a lot of people are benefiting from that. But we are not looking at the major problem. For the few who are benefiting, and the country look good as far as investments. You know, you're seeing a lot of big multi-million-dollar investments. Honorable Chester Cooper, Deputy Prime Minister and Member of Parliament for the Exuma Keys, he is doing a fantastic job of developing his constituency. The Prime Minister himself, like I said, they are doing an awesome job as far as getting investors to come and invest in the Bahamas. But we are not really seeing the dangers that we're in. I've been seeing the dangers a very long time in the country. And some of the dangers we're not paying attention to, even though the Coalition of Independence or the Free National Movement, the Coalition of Independence led by Lincoln Bean. The opposition is led by the Honorable Michael Pintard, and the PLP, which is the governing party of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, is led by the Honorable Brave Davis, who's the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That is all good. And as they go into this election season, looking to either become the next Prime Minister of this wonderful country, which is in decay inside, it's much more than just investment, okay? All of our lives are at stake, Bahamian people. Why is there not an uproar when you're seeing statistics like 1 in 5 teens has attempted suicide or suicidal thoughts and self-harm, triple us, loneliness doubles, okay? People right now feel that there's no one there for them. You know, we say we're a Christian nation. You know, there are people out there who don't have nobody. You know, there are people whose bodies are in the morgue, and no one has yet come to claim their bodies. Maybe it's their judgment for not being a good human being. You know, some people, you know, I don't know. Or some people go, then they give the life to help others, and people turn their back on them, and, you know, I don't know. But all I can say, if you're not taking 1 in 5 teens has attempted suicide, it means the country is deteriorating. So I'd read in the Nassau Guardian, let me read this. Among a list of alarming trends among teens revealed in the Ministry of Health's Global School Health Report 2025, the most concerning revelation was that 1 in 5 Bahamian students between the ages of 13 and 18 have attempted suicide, and 1 in 4 men have contemplated on committing suicide. The results of this survey of 2,213 students in 25 public and private schools across 8 islands, New Providence, Grand Bahama, Abaco, Andres, the Berry Islands, Eleuthera, Exuma, and Anagua, were announced yesterday during a press conference at the office of the Prime Minister. Dr. Moxie from the Ministry of Health Policy Unit said that the data should stop Bahamians in their tracks, as she warned that the health and wellness of teens has worsened dramatically. As a whole, the finding present a stark and sobering truth. Our teens are facing more complex, more dangerous, and more emotionally burdensome realities that any generation has faced before. You see, excuse me language, Brave Davis, Michael Pintard, Lincoln Bean. You guys don't know what y'all are really fighting for. And to the churches, you guys, and again, there are good churches, there are good people in the churches. Don't get offended, I'm not speaking with you guys. If you're doing what you're supposed to do as a Christian and as a church, this is not for you. Okay? This is not for you. Okay? There's 1 in 5 teens attempting suicide, mind you. If we won't put it like this, the PLP, the F&M, and the Coalition of Independence. Okay? So it's not one party is being affected. I'm just coming from this angle. Okay? We're talking about Bahamian at large living here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. All of them combined, the PLP teens, the F&M teens, and the Coalition of Independent teens. Okay? Come understand the one thing. Bahamians. The doctor. Mind you, let me read this again. Listen. So, you're doing good governance, Prime Minister, Mr. Honorable Brave Davis. Like I said, I don't think he's a bad person. I think that, but I don't think you guys understand what really is going on in your country that you guys say that you want to fix and that you guys say that you care for. I don't think y'all read the newspaper. I don't think y'all are not listening to y'all consultants who y'all are paying hundreds of $1,000s to get consultancy on statistics like this. See, many people would read the newspaper. These the statistics that I know that are affecting our country that leads to crime, okay, which I know starts from poverty, okay, broken homes, and I know all these things that have been happening in the country, it is connected. And we are not taking it serious. Let me read this again. Listen, Bahamas, and listen to the word again. The data shows a medical health crisis amongst teens. Teens, people, listen. You know what's teens? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then 18. Any one of you, wherever those ages, aren't they the most vulnerable years of your life where you get breaking? If you're a young female or you're a male, you want to get breaking. You practice unprotected sex at an early age. You start to go to the nightclubs and sneak out, okay? You start to take drugs. Start to hang with bad company. This is the adolescent stage of your life where you are the most vulnerable. In our country, even though they have these statistics, okay, they're not doing enough to pay attention. This is supposed to be a national crisis in the country where we see that we are in big trouble. Next statistics. Yes, let me just say this. I'm a part of a couple organization in government. I work and give free voluntary consulting to many governments over the years. I was never paid. I work with Dr. David Allen and Dr. Kiva Battle at the Ministry of National Security under the Honorable Wayne Monroe, who is the Minister of National Security. And, I do criticize Mr. Monroe, not on everything he does, but the things that I know that he can do better as a minister. But I work with the organization because I like to give my input and find information when it comes to getting the research. And Kiva Battle and Dr. David Allen, they do a tremendously good job of gathering information from various different consultants from various different government departments, and then they have a guy like me who from the inner city community, a part of the board, and I give my input from my experience and the experience with our witness happening in our country, which is real life, and I apply it when I have my chance to speak with Dr. David Allen Kiva Battle, because we meet every month at the Ministry of National Security. Okay? And they show these data reports. And some of the data reports indicate also that per capita, with 100,000 persons. We have 100 murders per year. You know what that means? By the World Health Organization, you know what they call that? They call that a conflict zone. There's 2 points I'm making. 1 in 5 teens. I talked with David Allen. That's 2 points. Okay? And I'm talking about the statistics now where they say in the Bahamas, with 100 murders, with a population of over 100,000 persons, we are a conflict zone. Jamaica has a higher murder rate than us, right? Because they have millions of people. The Bahamas worse than Jamaica because we're only 21 by 7 and we have 700 islands. You understand what I'm saying? Nassau is a parish in Jamaica. Okay? It's a parish. And they might have more people living in that parish than they have living in Nassau. But just say a parish in Jamaica is like more than 21 miles, if I'm correct. Or it might be small, but I'm just saying. And Jamaica has millions of people. And the Bahamas outranking Jamaica. Sometimes Jamaica finishes with about 1,000 murders per year or a little more, right? Yeah. While Bahamas, less, and Jamaica has a population of a couple million, okay? And their land mass is vast, okay? Nassau's only 21 by 7, and then our largest island is Andros, okay? But we're separated by water. But Jamaica alone could probably have 4 of those family islands in one or 5 of those family islands in one, and the population is extremely high. And our murder rate, if you look at it per capita, right, we worse in Jamaica, okay? Next statistics, all right? Miles LaRoda, he was speaking, and, he was talking on some issues. And he himself seems like he don't really understand what's going on. I wish I could have played the clip, but I was a little late today, and I had time to really get myself organized because I was very busy this week. But I remember some points I wanted to talk about today. And it seems like he himself, kind of don't really know the problems being people facing in the country. But nevertheless, he's trying. But our leaders, they don't know what is going on in the country. The young people in this country, the teenagers, don't have no future. At night, young people run the streets. The Prime Minister the other day, the Honorable Prime Minister Brave Davis, he was speaking to a pastoral program. And one of the issues he spoke on is he's saying that the pastors themselves need to be more engaged on assisting. I don't understand this. All this crap going on in our country, why would the Prime Minister going to the pastoral, right, conference or event, and he was one of the guest speakers, he was the guest speaker, and he was addressing them, and he's saying that they need to be more involved in their communities and blah, 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 and this and blah, blah. But that's the church. I thought that was the church job. I don't think the Prime Minister needs to be instructing them to do these things. So what has the church, again, I'm not talking about the church that are doing their part. So this is not for you guys. But the Prime Minister was saying get more involved. Meaning? So what the church been doing all this time, and all this crime, all this rape, sexual assault going on, where's the church? For the churches out there who are doing a good job, like I said, this here is not for you guys. Y'all just turning a deaf ear to this. This is not for you guys. This is for the set out there who saying there's Christians, okay? And they care about the Bahamas. Are y'all reading the newspaper? The other day, Ministry of Social Service gave us statistics about child abuse. It's high in the country. Again, the next statistics. High again. Rest uproar. All the statistics are there to show you we are deteriorating. The woman saying, let me read this. Call like you come right now. Listen. This, the government, right? This is the government official. Let me read this again. Health policy unit said that the data should stop behemoths in their tracks. She is trying to say we should stop everything we do in this country and pay attention. Okay? That's what this is. I ain't see one pastor on the TV. I ain't see no prime minister. I ain't see no opposition leader. I ain't see nobody. Everyone talking about the Haitian this and who do this and who do that. Y'all didn't see what's going on here. Huh? You play politics in this. Huh? Your own personal child could be the next victim. All of us. Let me just read this again. Call us like I'm to you right now. Listen again. She said, and she warned that the health and wellness of teens has worsened dramatically. As a whole, the finding presents a stark and sobering truth. Our teens are facing more complex, means they sissing around, they don't listen to nobody, they ain't get no guidance. That's why they dying so young. They're catching sexually transmitted diseases. If they had the proper education and know about having sex, and sex is dangerous, and that you should grow yourself, get your proper education, go to schooling once you get the proper assistance to wait your turn and plan your future. Think about getting married, or if you're in a boyfriend, girlfriend relationship, understand that grow together, build together, right? They ain't getting no guidance out there. All right? And listen again, I call it coming right now. And the finding present a stark and sobering truth. Our teens are facing more complex, more dangerous, means the sex, suicide, and more emotionally means that they don't know that me and you in a relationship at 14, 15, and you break up with me and you hurt me, that ain't the end of the world. There's millions of women out there. There are millions of men out there. So you don't need to go there as a woman, to think that's the end of the world because the person rejected you and break your heart. There's a million women out there. There's a million men out there. And life goes on. Time heals. When someone break your heart, you don't rush yourself into no next relationship. Give yourself some time to heal. We need to teach our kids these things. We don't have no program like this. And you hear the woman say, I come and I call her. She say, our teens has worsened. Go ahead, caller.
Good afternoon, Scrooge.
Good night to you.
How you doing, man?
I'm fine, sir.
Scrooge, you looking for the church? I'm out to basically quell like this evil that's going on in this town. Like, you looking for the church is?
I ain't looking for no church.
You see where the church is?
I say where the church is. That's what the church supposed to do. I ain't looking for no church.
Look at secret places to find the church, man. First, you got to find the preacher. The preacher around the church, right?
Yes, sir.
You really got to check around good. But looking at them politicians back pocket, I think they hiding there.
Now we getting the point now, because I saw one other day on the platform talking about the party and we should do this, the brave. There's no disrespect to the prime minister, but these pastors, they twisted their mind. They trying to carry all us to hell. Go ahead, caller.
They looking to get money from politicians to get free land, grant, this and that, and to, basically keep them floating.
Brave Davis.
You don't expect the church to say nothing all them quietly for the next pop.
Yeah.
Hey, Scrooge.
Yes, sir.
When last you been on Gladstone Road?
I passed in a little while. What's going on out there, Chief?
Man, the church is nothing but hypocrisy,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you already got one church, but see, I talking about at least 40,000 square feet, right?
Mm.
Right? It's
Mm-hmm.
huge, right? and two lot away from that, man, hold on, man. I've been in a bigger church than you, man. These people got to stop. When people coming from the sinners inside them place, huh? Hey, but Scrooge. Hello.
I'm listening.
Yeah. Now, in reference to you mentioned earlier that being in the Caribbean, being not in the Caribbean, you realize that, right?
I know we ain't. But I know we
Being in the West Indies,
hemisphere.
we keeping bad company.
Who keeping?
Hello?
Who keeping bad company?
Well, I mean, if we, hold on, man. If we in the West Indies and we going to join up with the CARICOM, we ain't belong with, I mean, that even is not in your right mind. You can even think about even joining that again in that state. But you know the irony?
Yes, sir.
We joined CARICOM from 1983, 10 years after independence. That made people with CARICOM for 42 years, right?
Yes, sir.
But notice if we look back in time, right?
Yes, sir.
The best years and then the Bahamas was really, really booming was when? When?
Go ahead, you talking.
Man, hold on, man. From independence up right up to about the first 10, 15 years after that, we start climbing down. Don't mind all these hotels coming around. Because guess what? From the time when we taking the land and then you could sell it to the foreigners and they could put up a hotel and then everything would go through government. It's 51% and we getting 49%. We selling everything we have. Hello? Hello?
You talking, boss? I don't try. Listen, you boss. I with you, but I can't. You don't. Yeah, I know, but don't try to get me to go. You gotta speak. Don't try to get. Don't try.
We celebrate independence in a couple of days, right?
Yeah.
You realize what independent means?
What independence mean?
To be independent, not independent. Independent of other people, other nations. For we've been growing no food and we can't feed ourselves nothing.
Well, you're completely right. All right.
In Africa, right?
Yeah.
They say Africa, you understand, and right? They got everything going on in there. They building cars, building everything, right? Name one thing industrious that we did in the Bahamas other than carve something with wood. Name one thing we make. We don't do no metallurgy or nothing. All right? And you know what? If you drive there by Araki, right? Just after you pass Araki heading into town, right?
Yeah, we got something.
You see Fort Cannon on the side of the road?
Yeah. Let me answer your question, man. Let me answer your question. Let me answer your question.
Yeah.
You say we don't manufacture nothing. And we don't.
Talking about,
no, I know. I know.
Make no car.
Listen, yes, we do. We have some that we. Listen. Give me a chance, man. Give me a chance. You don't give me a chance. This is what we manufacture. We manufacture politicians to become millionaires. We manufacture pastors become millionaires and lead the sheep astray.
Yeah, astray and broke, disorientated.
So we do manufacture, and we manufacture corruption.
Yeah.
We manufacture poverty. We manufacture hate. That's what we manufacturing.
The Constitution ain't got integrity in it. That's why we don't have none of it.
No.
They ain't put one word of integrity in our Constitution.
The last
principle. They ain't got no principle.
The last set of decent people in this land who I know about, who I read about, is Edmund Moxie, late great Edmund Moxie, Mr. Carlton Francis, Mr. Sir Ronald Fox, and who gave up a blank check in order to make the PLP the government of the country. And once that was arranged, the deal was to give a square deal, which never happened. So they're the last set of decent people that I know about in Bahamian history. The last set of decent people with integrity and who put the people before everybody.
Yeah, you know about that.
They're the most decent, some of the most decent set of Bahamians in the history of the country.
Hey, Scrooge, look at how bad it is, right? Look how bad it is. You see, this is the season right now, food season, right? You know what foolish it is? These persons who buy into the city want to serve us and everything, right?
Yeah, they serve now.
They come around, you see them and everything, right? And they tell you a story, right?
Yes, sir.
And you know what? You take that in like a hungry fish.
Yes, I get on next
one piece of day hanging in there, everyone trying to bite at the same time, right?
Yes, sir. Caller
You
coming
know,
right
at the
now.
end of the day, right? You know this, yeah?
Yes, sir.
You get tricked, man.
Yes, sir.
You get tricked.
Yes, sir.
You know what it really is?
I give a next call on the line so you can do it up
Yeah, yeah.
place.
For people, I mean, it's like these people you don't know, right? They come with you, they charm you, they tell you some good things, and you know what, you believe it, right? And you know what, at the end of the day, right, it's about all of us who will lose because guess what, that person only want to get
Yes.
in this life, right? You got to think carefully who you empower.
Yes.
Because guess what, these people, they only want to get the power. Once they get the power, they don't care about nothing. They are ruthless.
Yeah.
Enjoy your day, Scrooge, man.
Thank you very much for calling. And you know, again, he talk about it, say we independent. Okay, here's the next thing. I was listening to the Minister of Health, and the caller just made a good point. Caller, coming to you right now. Give me 1 second just to make this point. I couldn't believe it. The Bahamas government has agreed to re-sign the Cuban doctors and nurses that are in the Commonwealth of Bahamas. And I think, you know, they serve as a great purpose because they really know how to deal with Bahamians. They know about the medical profession. And also they come here to make a good living. But their hospitality is great, right? And then when I listen, Dr. Dawah say they're waiting on a response from the U.S. government because the Cuban doctors and nurses want to resign here with new negotiation. But the Bahamas government agreed to it, but they're asking consent from the U.S. So they're asking, they want to get consent from the U.S. if it's all right to re-sign these Cuban doctors. And I thought we was an independent country. Again, I know we're not an independent country, but again, that shows you if we have to wait to get an answer from the U.S. government on a decision we're going to make here in the Bahamas, it's crazy. We have to wait for them to respond if we're going to give the Cuban doctors and nurses a new contract. Crazy. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside NSC on Guardian Radio.
Yeah, hey, a pleasant good evening, Scrooge. Happy National Pride Day to you.
Thank you.
That is called geopolitics.
Geopolitics.
You know, it's called the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rule, and the U.S. believes that they are the ones with all the gold, so they make the rules.
Yes, sir.
And we are just a little dot on their backside, so they don't really care about us. They figure they can beat us into submission, you know, whatever. That has been their policy from the 1800s with the Monroe's doctrine. But what I call about Scrooge is something, you know, that money, what they was given, wasn't Monica for doing nothing. And they might as well give you some of that, man. They might as well pay you as to the, because he was, according to the minister, he was a contracted worker with car and all kind of things. And I don't know, Christ single what he do since he was there.
Yes, sir.
You know what he did?
I can't say, you know. I know. Yes, probably. He's a friend of the Minister of National Security, so you have to make some money. You know?
Yeah, you know, just anyhow. But the other thing, the issue with the church, Scrooge, let me just tell you something. I go to church every Sunday, right?
Yes, sir.
I put in my tithes and my offering. People don't understand where the church is supposed to get money from to do these things, Scrooge. People don't understand that the church money is the people's money, you know.
Yes, sir.
We come together as a community.
Yes.
We give our tithe and offering
Yes.
and on and on. And Pastor, we ought to take care of our own first before we go there, talking about trying to save other people. Okay?
Lord.
The Bible says first you got to look out for those who are out of the household of faith.
Oh, Lord.
And people have a misconception about what the church ain't doing in the church. How the church supposed to get the money from? Where the church supposed to get the money from, Scrooge? If we don't give the money, the money don't come from heaven, you know. These are people who go there and they work and they hustle and they come and they bring it into church and so that they, you know, first of all, they try to fulfill what the Word of God says, to bring the tithes and the house so that God will bless you, okay? And we are blessed to be a blessing. But people have this misconception about what the church is supposed to do. And when they get their money, they don't bring them to the church. They go there, they bust it up, they do whatever they want to do, and then they come running to the church, looking for the church to come and to rescue them. I'm not saying that the church is not supposed to help and to guide and whatnot, but that the church is for the believers first.
Ooh.
It's called an ecclesia. It's called, the church is for the believers.
So the church is for the believers.
Right.
Wow.
It is. Paul, if you read the gospel, all of the gospels were written, wrote them to various churches, to the believers.
That's something new to me. That's a new learning experience for me, sir. Wow. Awesome.
Yeah. No. See,
That's
the
new.
church means the call. We are the call out of the world. Okay. And so, but because of what God has done for us, we go there and we share that.
Yes,
He says
yes,
go out
yes.
in there, and if you see somebody who is naked, you help and you clothe and
Yes.
whatever it is. All right, but these things take resources.
Mm.
When the early church started, they sold their property, they sold their this, and they brought it to the church so that everybody,
Every need was met.
there was no lack. But
Yes.
that came from among themselves, first of all, for the believers themselves who were part of that church.
Yes.
Okay, so the church is for the believers first.
Yes.
Okay, and the world and whatnot comes next. I just want to set the record straight because people
Then-
feel like the church got a
then
bunch
we-
of money and we could be supposed to be doing this and doing that. The church, we are made up of human beings too, and we have limited resources. The government don't give up church no money. The government don't fund the churches like that. They never give church little breaks or whatever, 1 or 2 little breaks here. But the government don't fund the church. Okay, so there they are. That's all I want to add to the conversation.
Okay.
But listen, keep
Yes,
on
sir.
doing what you're doing, and I hope that the Minister of National Security
Thank you, sir.
would pay you for your serviceman, for your expertise. You may not have degrees and whatever. You don't need no degree. You don't need a title to be a leader.
Yes, sir.
And so your experience is enough for you to be qualified. Rodney Marco, as far as I know, he had no degree.
Yes, sir.
He had a degree, the first degree on the thermometer, but he was getting paid $5,000-$6,000 and riding around the car, doing a bunch of foods without me, even though that's my friend. But anyhow, Scrooge, enjoy
Yes,
the
sir.
rest of your weekend, buddy.
Thank you very much, sir. And it's good to hear the next side of the story. It's good to have these conversations. I understand everything you're saying, sir, because I know, like how you talked about it, how the church members themselves would give their tithes, and the tithes themselves would gather, and in communities where it was needed, they would disperse the funds that was collected. And mostly in the churches, the wealthy also go to many of the churches in the country. So the wealthy who run some of these big businesses and big businessmen and women in both in Nassau, Providence, they themselves go to the church, so they give their tithes, and their tithes go to the programs. And so I was referring to that, but I'm saying that some of the individuals surrounding the neighborhoods, like you said, I think if we were to really focus on our communities, and the church get resources from entities that go to the church, like I said, like back in the day, the rich and wealthy were in the church. It's their money. They work hard and they want to give back. And I think that in a setting, if we plan better as a body and we set ourselves, that take care of our members in the church, make sure that they get their house. Many of them must make sure that their house is taken care of. And then we have something to give to the community which is in dire need of it. And we do a survey and we make it a part of the church, program to go in the inner city community and to give back, And that's a program that we started with Pastor Hugh Rule. I was, again, a non-paid consultant. And when he asked me how the church can help, and I said that if we can start to back the schools, if we could clean up some of the yards, if we could fix some of the houses. And he said that, he would go and talk to some of his members, and then he would use his position as a pastor to see if he could get government to assist, or some people who he know himself personally to make some things happen in the community. So that's what I'm talking about as well, using the connection that the church have, because there's nobody in this country besides politics has more connection to the church, because in many of the churches, some of the most richest and powerful set of people are in the churches, and we could use that to our benefit So if you're a pastor, you could talk and say, you know what, in our community there's some problems. Let's have a rich kids, some houses and stuff like that. Let's take care of our members' voice, and then we could go and help those who are neighbors in our church community. Okay? So things like that. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside in the City.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Brown. How you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm fine.
Yeah, Scrooge, I've been following you quite some time, and I'll say this,
Go ahead,
we
sir.
don't have a crime problem in the Bahamas. They always say this.
Yes, sir.
What we do have, though, and when I first started my advocacy, it was just a poly socialization of our black males.
Yes, sir.
But now we have our girls who are also poly socialized.
Yes.
Let's look at it. But people do this. I grew up in the inner city. The only people who are killing up one another, and I said this on your show before a few years back, I'm going to say it again. The only people who are committing all of this violence and brutality and mayhem on our streets are people who look like me and you.
Yes. Black people.
The white Bahamians are not killing up one another.
No, we ain't not one.
The Chinese are not killing up
Not
one another.
one.
You check on all the murders for the last 10 years, and I would go and record and say 99% of them were committed by black people who look like me and you.
Yes.
And about 99% of the perpetrators, of the victims, were people who look like me and you.
Yes, sir. I
So
agree.
this isn't rocket science. It ain't like we have all demographics of people living in our society committing crime. Just our black people.
Mm-hmm.
So why aren't we addressing this problem?
Yes.
I'll say this. As a black Bahamian, I am embarrassed as a black man. And I'll say this, I don't care what no one says. Cleaver Downton is my name. But I'm saying this, and I want to make a public apology to all the white people in the Bahamas, all the white Bahamians, because they know how to conduct them. The same thing
They
they
do.
know how to conduct themselves.
They do.
The statistics are there
To prove it.
to be independent, We wanted to take this country over. And look at what we did in 52 years.
When we take it over.
Right now, Nassau is the most dangerous place, one of the most dangerous places on planet Earth.
And listen, we only on a 21/7. You see what I'm telling you now? See this?
21/7.
Mr. Duncan, you're right. You're saying the same thing. That's how serious it is.
And then, look, you are politicians, persons who vie for office, and they don't understand statistics. They don't understand our socioeconomic challenges. It seems this way, because, I'm going to say this. You are politicians who've been celebrating when we do under 100 murders in a particular year.
That's a stupid
Imagine
is.
that.
That's a
When
stupid
the world
is.
standard, you were saying it, the world standard, according to the WHO, the world standard is 5 murders per 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
So in our worst case, with just over 400,000, let's say we have 500,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
In our worst case scenario, we should be doing around 25 per year.
Murders. 25 murders per year.
We are doing over 100. And when we do under it, politicians celebrate.
And talk
We're
about
living in an armed conflict zone. You said it right. That's when you're doing around 30, 35 murders per 100,000. It becomes a
conflict zone. And we are a conflict zone.
But then you have persons who have the mic in their hand holding on these talk shows.
And they don't understand
statistics.
No.
They don't understand the severity of what we are dealing with.
Yeah.
They're all singing in the same as if they're singing for their supper. They don't want, they will never take a person like a Cleaver Downcombe and make me a consultant.
Mm-hmm.
And these problems are not rocket science, These are easy fix. Let me show you something. And I hope some paid consultant is listening to when I speak, right? Let me show you what is going on with crime, Scrooge.
Go ahead, sir.
When you go into the inner city, this is what you see. Because I did some research in Farm Road, I did some in Baintown, but this is what you see. You see a lot of persons, and tell me if I'm wrong,
Go
you see
ahead,
a lot
go
of
ahead.
persons who have uncertainties about their future.
They don't know what they want to do with their future.
Exactly.
Nothing. They don't
have
know
lower
what they
grade.
want to do. Go ahead, Mr. Duncan. I'm sorry for interrupting
They have
you.
lower grades.
I agree with you.
Sleep.
I agree with you. Again.
They have, this one is very important, because when they are children, you know what we say? We see them when they have difficulties relating to their peers.
Mm-hmm.
But when they become an adult, they said, oh, they have to learn how to resolve conflict. You see it at primary school level, you see it at junior high level. But we just, ignore it. Then you have the young girls, very promiscuous. They get impregnated at an early age. Many of the homes are spearheaded by single mothers. When we know, we talk about child abuse, when we know the statistics bears that stepfathers, boyfriends, family friends, they are 6 times more likely to sexually abuse children in their care than the biological father.
And those same children who get sexually abused are going to be the next criminals in the next 16, 17 years.
Because it's another alarming statistic.
Go ahead.
You check out the U.S. prison. 80% of those who are incarcerated
a single father
were abused as a child. At some point.
In the U.S. prison.
And we've been averaging over 450 reported cases of various forms of child abuse
in the country.
15 to 20 years. And guess what? These statistics show that for every one that goes reported, at least 4 goes unreported. So you see the situation that we find ourselves in.
And you see, Mr. Duncombe, you just named off about 10 of the key problems we face in the country, and our leaders are not addressing it.
No, they don't want to. Because it's big business, crime is big business in the Bahamas, Who are they going to replace these judges with when they reduce crime? How are these undertakers who are giving them money for their campaign? How are they going to function when the numbers drop?
But Mr. Duncombe, you remember that other day when the funeral home, the undertaker said that so much people, that's when we had about 27 murders in the month of January. And they say that they had to refuse bodies because they couldn't deal with the volume of people who needed to get buried. You remember that about a year and a half, I think it was 2 years ago? They came on the news and said that's how much people. So if the funeral homes were refusing body, and you're saying now that is big business, if there's no lawyers and etc. So crime is big business. Boy, there's some crazy.
Crime is big business in the Bahamas.
I know.
See the challenge is we are faced with the same challenge that our slave masters were faced with before they freed the slaves. They forced to free slaves years earlier, but the question was, in the room was, when we free these slaves, who are we going to replace them with?
Yeah. They replace them with.
So right now,
they replace them with the host niggas, and then they replace us as the maid. Then they use us as the replacement, as the maid.
Exactly.
You see, the host niggas are the guys. Hey, watch Django. Hey, Samuel L. Jackson. That's the best. Boy, that's the best acting I ever see from a black man.
If I'm a minister of national security,
go ahead.
Numbers, right? I would be viewing and watching these numbers, but I don't think Wayne give a damn about what's going on.
No, they have the numbers. Like saying he's supposed to be addressing it. That's
but I'm saying when you look at the perpetrators and the victims of crime, you see 99 are basically it could even be higher than that, But when you look at the numbers and you see it's only black people who are becoming victims of these serious crimes and the perpetrators to these particular things, shouldn't you pause and try to ask yourself, what are we doing differently in our community?
That's right.
Than the white community? What are we doing? Some people say, oh, Mr. Duncombe, the whites, the blacks outweigh the whites, so you will always have more crime being committed. But how many white persons commit murder over the last 5 years?
Can't really tell you.
You can't really tell.
No, can't really tell.
Because there ain't none. I remember they had one, Miss Vaselli, who was charged with killing the rich white lady.
Yeah.
But other than that, I haven't heard.
That ain't even 1%. That ain't even 1%. That isn't even 1%. That isn't even 1%. That isn't because there's no numbers.
This is a genocide what you're saying here happening in the Bahamas.
That's right.
This is a deliberate extermination
of Bahamian people.
It's deliberate. No one can tell me it isn't deliberate.
Because we have all the statistics. If I could come here from a guy on the streets, right, and I ain't been to no college, I could read and I could tell you 1 in 5 teens attempted suicide, and we are not taking it serious. We have a high child abuse, verbal abuse, divorce is the highest it's been in the last couple of years in the Bahamas. Corruption, baby. Go ahead, sir.
You know, let's look at these consultants. I bet you none of these consultants who are serving in the National Security Ministry who are making big bucks, I bet you not one of them will produce a white paper. And this thing is so easy to fix. It's just social and economic.
Thank you.
And there are only 3 ways to fix it. It's through legislation, policy, and programs.
Yes. Funded programs. Consistently funded programs, non-stop, cannot be stopped from neither government who comes in power, just continuous.
We don't have no mountains. We don't have no terrain. So
Continuous.
This is a flat 21/7 island where the bulk of the crime is being committed.
Yes.
But our problem is these officials, their left hand is open to bribes and their right hand is corrupt.
That's right. And they blinded. And they're blinded. They're blinded.
While we are all, and it seems, I mean, the minister, the National Security Minister made a statement. Oh, crime is down. Crime is down where?
He's a fool. No disrespect, but he's a fool.
It's down because it seems as if that every time they get elected and they get these police surrounding them, protecting them, they feel as if that crime is down because they are protected.
Mr. Duncan, if crime is down, we can hit 100 murders at the end of the year. Yes. So how could crime be? How? If we're hitting 100 murders every year, how? Because what? House breaking, but the number one crime is murder. If crime down, how come we always finish at 100? What statistics? If we have averaging 100 every year, how could it be done? And every time you're looking to know someone getting shot left and right, and there's no safe spot in our zone now.
No safe spot. You see, then you find children. Remember the young boy through Rupert Dean Lane who got gunned down doing his homework?
Yes.
There's another young boy in Foxville who got gunned down watching TV.
Yes.
There's a lady who was going to church to pray, and she got shot with a stray bullet.
Yes.
So not only the person who the intended targets are dying, you have the unintended targets are also dying.
Yeah, because the guys who shoot the gun, they're completely idiots, and they don't know how to shoot, and they just blinded, and they shooting innocent people because, again...
And you trying to tell me the politicians will try to make us to believe that they cannot... I don't support hanging. I do support lethal injection, though.
Okay.
I do support making it gender neutral. So whether a male or a female commit a murder and is found guilty, you could put them to sleep.
Yes.
But you'll never see a woman being hanged in the Bahamas in our lifetime.
That don't make no sense.
It'll never happen. So they need to move with lethal injection. But these politicians, it seems to me that they have committed some treasonous act and they're afraid to implement the death penalty because they themselves may be found wanting.
Thank you, man.
That could be the only logical conclusion that I can come to as to why they don't want to implement the death penalty.
Yes, thank you, man. The phone lines
but
like
we're in problems. We're in problems, and we as black people are creating the problem.
Yes.
If you remove all of us from out of this Bahamas, the Bahamas will be one of the most safest places on planet Earth.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Thank you. You did a wonderful job. Yeah, made some very, very interesting points, and I appreciate you. You did a wonderful job. Yeah, everything he said is the truth. You know, he knocked the nail on the head. We're gonna take this next call, please. Good night.
Hello.
Good night. Good night.
Hey, good night, my friend. Boy, I could sit and listen to him for the rest of my life because he's speaking truth.
Yes, he's speaking truth.
Yeah, man. Most other radio stations hosts, when he speaks, they try to shut him down. But you know, then there's a couple others who call in to the radio stations, and they really hit, like you said, hit the nail on the head.
Yes.
They drive the nail right through.
Yeah, right true.
You know what I mean?
Right true. Right true.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
But you know, sadly, there are some persons who are born retired. They have no reason to hustle because they weren't born struggling like I was. And I could clearly remember as a 15, 14-year-old, I was shooting pool with some white boys, Conky Joe boys, and they was using their drugs. I didn't even know what it was. They was, they were happy and they were socialized. And they introduced me to it, and I say, wow, but they weren't fighting amongst one another. They planned to come out for the evening to shoot pool.
Yes, sir.
And they just enjoyed themselves, and they went back home.
Yeah, they were more social.
Right. You see, they didn't have that stress level,
Yes.
and they weren't polluted.
Yes.
Like we grow up drinking this water. I don't know the water name, but we drinking this water that's just messing us up. But the Bible clearly says that the leaves of the trees
Yes.
are for the healing of the nation, right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
But what we don't know is the best time to pick the leaves are like early in the morning when the oil, like you smell jasmine in the night.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Why are you going to pick the jasmine to get the oil from the jasmine in the day when the oil and run down to the root?
Okay, so it's a particular time is best time to get it.
When you can get any of your leaves for herbal medicinal value, you should get it while the dew is still on it.
Oh, wow, early in the morning.
Yeah,
Wow.
but we don't do that. See, we weren't taught that.
That's new for me. I'm going to do that because, I love my greens. I drink my moringa leaf tea.
Yeah.
I drink my guava. I drink my soursop leaf tea. And most my oranga. My oranga. The Spanish time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now you need to go get it before the sun
Thank
brings
you.
it down.
Thank you.
Think about that.
And I wonder why it smells so fresh in the morning, like when you get up early, you smell all the fragrance of the leaves, I smell the
When you go
soursop
walking.
leaf. Yeah. You smell all of them early in the morning for you, sir?
Are you feeling me?
Yes, sir, you're right.
And the thing is, so there's spiritual healing also.
Yes.
But you find that most countries that have no trees, like Haiti, look at up in the east, there's Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
Those people can't reason,
Oh.
And when you walk the street, you got 5 million men on the street one time.
Yes.
All right? And all them talking the same time. But you can't even understand what nobody's saying. So you see the confusion comes when you cut down all your trees
Yes, sir.
and you're not using your leaves.
Yes, sir.
Your mental...
Yes.
You hold... Because and if we continue to allow our ecosystem to collapse into that,
Yes, sir.
that's where we will be heading.
Wow.
But I want to ask you something.
Go ahead, sir. If I could answer it.
Yeah, well, think about this for a minute.
Go ahead, sir.
If I come from Mars and I apply for a Bahamian passport,
Oh, Lord.
Go
ahead,
my
sir.
passport be written or given to me in the Martian language or in the Bahamian language?
It got to be... No, all right. If you come from Mars and you come to the rig,
Yeah.
which language should it be written into?
Should it be written in English or Martian?
English.
Well, why are there Bahamian passports written in Creole?
Well, you got to ask our government, ask the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and ask the Immigration Department, and ask the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
You see what's happening here?
Ask those guys. Ask the Minister of Foreign Affairs. That's the Honorable Fred Mitchell. And then you need to ask the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and ask the Director of the Ministry of Education. I meant Ministry of Immigration, excuse me.
But you see what's happening here, right?
Yes, sir. I get the point.
Yeah, so, there's a replacement in play,
Uh-huh.
and it's not going to succeed,
Okay.
but it's in play.
So
And,
the
and
Bahamian
I
people
would
see it?
hope- Hmm?
The Bahamian people, you think they see it?
No, I said it's not going to succeed.
Oh, no, I say you think the Bahamian people see it.
No. See, sadly, the organization that's in power now have a lot of blind followers.
Okay.
They just follow. They're not thinkers like that. Now, there's some who are thinkers, and I hope this time around they can clearly see what's in front of them and make a decision. Because if you can't, there's no point in going to church on Sunday.
Also, okay, that's why I was talking to Christianity as well.
Stay home and play with yourself, man.
Yes, sir.
Because you're really wasting your time if you're going to see somebody who you elected actually giving your country away, but you're still going to put him back to give it. There's something that's fundamentally wrong with that. And this is where we're heading. So let's just hope we can all wake up and fix this before it's too late.
Okay.
Because you have now these persons who are here, they're applying for, they get a license to have rental cars. Well, guess what? The people who they rent the cars to don't have driver's license. That's why when they knock you, they can't stop.
Wow.
Okay?
Okay.
And this is the culture that we are breathing right in front of us.
So what you're saying now, some of these drive-by, because I see in the newspaper, a lot of those people didn't have no license and stuff. You saying this is true, you know? A lot of those drive-by.
Look at the jitney drivers on 15A, 15.
Why? So that's why they still won't stop, because they have no driver's license.
How they can stop? Because they rent this car from someone who, you understand the culture play here?
Yeah, I see. Yes, sir.
So I hope that PLPs, and I really talk about the PLPs now.
Oh, Lord.
I hope they could clearly wake up and see the reason why they need to vote for anybody else other than the PLP.
Oh, Lord.
Because that's the only way we can address this.
Oh, Lord.
All right, I'm not saying not saying don't vote. I'm simply saying don't vote PLP. Because if you vote PLP, you can pee on yourself.
Oh, Lord.
All right?
Yes, he has his
Man,
opinion.
I appreciate you tolerating me, but I hope to call
Thank you.
back
No,
again.
you have free will. You speak on some points, and that is your point of view. You know, you have your rights to speak, sir. And thank you very much. You did a wonderful job. You know, that's his opinion. He gave you his 2 cents. You know, and like I say, you can't persuade no one to vote for no particular party. What are you saying? Do the right thing. I don't know if not voting for the PLP is going to doing the right thing, or voting from would be doing the right thing, or voting for the FNM would be doing the right thing, or not voting for the FNM would not be doing the right thing. I don't know. Or voting for the coalition of independents might be doing the right thing. I don't know. All I know is one thing I can say. We need a leader and leaders in all fronts, the church, community, government, business-wise, to have one objective, and that's to address the issues of 5 teens attempting suicide. And we have a government official, part of the health policy unit, what's in there? Miss Claretta Moxie from the Ministry of Health. And she said that the finding they have found is that the health and wellness of teens has worsened dramatically. As a whole, the finding presents a stark and sobering truth. Our teens, listen, Beeman, our teens, not the FNM teens, not the PLP teens, not the coalition teens, not the church teens, the Bahamas teens, okay, are facing more complex, more dangerous, and more emotionally burdensome realities than any other generation before them. You know what that means? We're getting worse. Yeah, we're doing good business, we're doing good governance, but when it comes to dealing with the people, we are doing worse. Last call. Go ahead, caller. We can take one more after this as well. Go ahead, caller. Sorry for taking so long.
No problem, Scrooge. Good evening, brother. Hope you're doing good, man. Good
Yes,
show,
sir.
brother.
Thank you.
Listen, I totally agree with Cleaver when he's talking about them things, right? But, I mean, him and another caller was talking about how white people behave, but this is how we behave. Now, we can't forget history, all right? You know, their seeming stability cost us our stability. You understand where I'm coming from? And I mean, you look in history, ain't nobody in the world as violent as white people, all right? They used to stay having wars, and even today, right now, you know what I mean? Look who causing the wars and fighting all the wars and killing innocent people all over the world, all right? So let's not talk about black people. Our circumstance is because of the history that we have had. You know what I mean? Now, what we need to do is we need to focus on how we're going to reverse what caused us to be in this situation. And that's why when I was listening to Cleaver, I mean, I hear him talk about legislation and different things. It would be good if we could put out clear, simple solutions. And I feel one of the clearest, simple solutions, Scrooge, is if we could get an education system that teaches all of the necessary faculties that children need before they come to school.
Yes.
We don't have to introduce no programs. You know what I mean? We can make the education system in school adequate to put out the type of human being we want. And we don't need to bring no special program here and special program and make the school system adequate. And the guy you was talking about those ills, Scrooge, I was shocked to hear them things, rise in suicide and how much young youth carrying weapons and all them different things, all them statistics they was calling off this morning. But just like with the DR bridge education in the school, they ain't talking no solutions. They ain't talking no programs
Just back and forth.
curb these things.
Just
You
back and
understand?
forth.
So 10 years down the road, 15 years down the
Same.
road, when society is even worse, then you know what I mean. We shouldn't be wondering why, because this is why we dealing with the things we dealing with right now. You see, but like I say, I only call to say that's a good, it's a good show you have been, but we need to talk about the solutions more. And we can't be blaming black people necessarily for our circumstances.
Yes.
We can't forget what we've been through. You know what I mean? This is not us.
Yes.
You understand? This is them.
Yes,
you
sir.
understand? This is them. And one last thing, democracy. Let me tell you something, Scrooge. Democracy and capitalism, those are systems that were created by the Europeans and the Greeks. Democracy and capitalism are systems of the devil, but they are not designed to bring about the kind of society we're looking for.
Yes, yes.
All right, so we need to look deep into our problem when we're talking about the solution. But good show, but I can continue to listen.
Man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay. My friend, Mr. Bryce, Elroy Bryce, say crime is a big business. You can take this last call. You can come in and talk for about 3 minutes, please, if you don't mind. But I just want to read this comment, please. My friend saying, hey, remember, this Elroy Bryce, bro, the government knows poverty breeds crime. They do not want to fix it. They want it this way. We have been in the streets long enough to know when the police want to lock this crowd down, they do. Crime is big business for the government, bro. And it is. Because I could tell you some things been going around court where I watch prosecutors them and then take bribes and it's man sitting there listening, man. Some serious stuff going on in our courts too, They're merciful in the courts as well, There's a lot that we need to really get to know what's going on. All right? There's a lot of stuff we need to, and I ain't disagreeing with no one said, but we do have a black and black rob syndrome in our country, and we are fighting now one another as black men because the police are black. They beat black brothers bad in the prison. Beaming people, black brothers, in the stations, okay? And we ourselves are killing police. We kill a decent inspector that day, and he has a family, So what are we doing? Black on black. If you look at politics, the man in charge, the last officer, Roland Simonet, we have had black prime ministers. We had Lyndon for 25 years, he's a black man. And the whole cabinet is black. Okay? For 25 years. After him, we had Hubert Ingram. He did 15. But Mr. Christie did a 5-year period in that. All of them are black. And we look at the cabinet, right? All of them are black as well. Right? And we could say the Europeans started this initiative, right? But black man who are black, they wasting the Europeans. Because the black man ain't in prison smuggling drugs or beating his fellow black brothers. The black man in there raising taxes on the innocent and poor people in this country, raising the light bill, raising the water bill, raising the cable bill, raising the gas prices, building supply, got their own companies. Black man. Not the white man. They're doing business with the white man. The white man are very generous, And the black man is the one who increased the prices. If you watch the prices of oil, what they selling it for the dollar. And then when the big business and gas Mongols over here, they raise the prices and charge our government. So in some instances, it's black on black. Yes, the white man, I would agree, started that. But if you look at it right now, black on black. PLPF and them, the prison, black against, prison officers against the black, the police against the citizen against the police. Me and you, brothers and sisters killing up one another, 100+ murders, No white man out there killing up one another. Now they might be selling the guns, right? So when we look at it, black and black. Now, in the last 50-some years in the country, and we destroying one another, not the white man. Not the white man. We can't point the finger at the white man. We could point our fingers at them. Those guys leave us here, and the only way you could reach them if you do business with them. So right now, it's those same leaders. We can take this last call. Go ahead, caller.
Scrooge.
Hey, good night.
Man, I had to call back, man. Scrooge, yesterday, rolling, man, the Chippenham area. Who run the Chippenham? Would that be, or which candidate supposed to be running for the PLP in Chippenham?
Alfred says he ain't running no more, so I know. They don't have no one running.
Yeah,
Alfred
they
says
don't run, boy, but I tell you one thing,
he's
right
stepping
here,
up.
yesterday, it's like, boy, they PLP got some fresh new shade, boy.
Yeah.
Fresh. And guess what?
Hey.
Guess who are they?
Who that?
Asian man out of Yahoo. 5 of them sheets stock up and I had one on. They so clean and fresh.
Boy, boss, listen. I can go on this. You're wasting your time, but you're wasting your time if you thinking about the Asian people. The Asian people embedded in our politics in this country, man.
I know you.
The Haitian people embedded in our politics. The Haitian people are embedded in our political parties, both the PLP and FNM. That's what they're doing. What they're doing.
I mean, they got to wait. But hold on.
But anyway,
what about the other third party?
They need voters as well. In order for them to stand a chance, they need people of the origin, which I don't.
So that's why online they have the voice messages and Creole for that boy party. They got.
What's that?
They see that, huh? They got voice messages in Creole, man. He pandering just like that for them, the PLP boy. I know. Which party to vote for if you ain't voting for them?
Yeah, I know.
It got to be like that.
And anyway, I'm going to just read this last thing. Boss, I know. All I can say is don't focus on that. Try focus on yourself and try to get yourself strong. Praise God. Get hatred out of your heart. Focus on your life, Get your little group together and strategize. I want to read something real quick. Not only that, alcohol use in the Nassau Guardian, it states here alcohol use among teens at crisis level. All right? 3 out of 4 teens who brought alcohol now are asked to show an ID report says. There's no laws and regulation in our bars and all. Okay, let me read this quick. A report from the Ministry of Health raised dire concerns over the levels of substance use amongst Bahamian teens. As she highlighted the findings in the Global School Health Report 2025, Dr. Moxie again from the Ministry Policy Unit said the rise is deeply concerning. She said alcohol use in particular is at crisis level. Oh Lord, what? Listen, people, you all listen. They're telling you. Listen, you see all this crisis. What this woman talking about? And y'all got time to be worrying with Brave Davis and Michael Pentard. Yes, these leaders have to be more concerned about these statistics. If the Prime Minister is not coming on or the opposition is not coming on and speaking on these statistics, they don't know what the hell they do in this country, and they're not concerned, and they're not going to be able to fix it. Brave Davis is a good Prime Minister doing business, okay? Him and Chester Cooper, okay? Chester Cooper is doing a great job of developing his community to avoid these type of conflicts in his community, right? The Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has one of the most toughest tasks. He has to find a way and how we can trickle down funds to support these, to start programs in these communities, to counteract these type of activities by our young teens in the country. Okay? Let me just read this quick. Right? The report arises from survey of more than 2,000 Bahamian students in public school and private school across the islands. The results were compared to those of, I'm going to go to page 10 quick. Page 10. I can't even see good. Okay, read this. Come on, page 10. Read this. All right, I get it. All right. Okay, yeah, reach out. Surveys undertaken in 1998 and 2013. That's my time when you say 1998. This survey also has to do with us. This is when we used to be drinking all around and doing all the foolishness. We were the first gang groups in the country. We were the first gangs in the country. Raiders, Syndicate, Border Boys, Mason Murderers, and Gun Dogs, and Junglers, and all those stuff. Moxie noted that in the latest survey, 34% of teens were active drinkers. These kids now. But drinking rising sixfold by 2% in 1998 to 12%. Drunkenness also climbed from 21% to 27%. 3 out of every 4 teenagers who purchase alcohol were never asked to show an ID despite the legal drinking age of 18, Moxley said. It also relates to other substances. 21.8% of Bahamian teens reportedly use illegal drugs. I tell you, if you go into school right now and you take drug tests, but probably half of the school or 3/4 of school on marijuana and drinking rum. So, Brave Davis, excuse my language, this inside the city, I mean business, I talk real life, I come from this. Y'all better stop. Opposition leader Michael Bentard, with all these statistics we read here tonight to show you we in crisis mode, you better stop. And excuse me, producer Lincoln Bain, you looking to be the next prime minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, you better come with scratch. You understand these statistics, y'all always talking about this and that and this row in parliament. Our country is a failed state. Our country is a crisis zone. Our country in the inner city is poor and we need support. Hey, if you guys don't come up with the right set of programs and consistent programs in these inner city communities, you're all dooming us. Okay? Suicide high. Drug use high. Let me just read this last thing. Where you going? All right. As relate to other substances, they use drugs. More than half said they have their first exposure by the age of 13. Lifetime cocaine use, in particular, surged tenfold from 1% in 1998 to 12% in 2023. I thought the cocaine thing was over. What the hell going on in this country? Cocaine on the rise from the 80s? Hell, boy, we doomed. This represents one of the sharper increases across any indicator in the report. She noted that lifetime marijuana use also was double over that period, while the use of synthetic drugs creeped from 4% to 5%. The report also noted that 16.5% of teens said obtaining illegal drugs is fairly easy. 14% of teens said they live in houses where drugs are used. 13% admitted to using drugs and alcohol. Reported attending school under the influence, going to school drunk, going to school high. Right? So you wonder why they fighting the teachers and they ain't lying in? Okay? Moxley said, cigarette usage is emerging as a major concern. Cigarette is when you get stressed. You 13, 14, 15, what kind of hell stress you get? You just come at your mother womb. What? You know the kind of stress the children face? Single parent. These kids them end up becoming parents because their parents got to go and work and they leave these kids home by themselves. Time. Someone call. Huh? Well, check my phone. Or my phone there. Someone went. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. I'm also want to apologize to the listening audience because I just get emotional on air, and I like to try to be professional as best as I can. And I want to apologize to the listening audience for my vulgar behavior because I also have to set example. But I get frustrated because I've been to these meetings for 20, 30 years telling these leaders about what our country faces in this country. And I just get frustrated knowing that they playing with our lives when you have all these statistics here. And our leaders are responsible for the deaths, the health. Because when you vie to be leaders of the country, you vie to be leaders, you have to think about what the country residents face when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to child abuse, when it comes to murder, and understanding all these things fall under one category, and we keep on going back and forth. And I represent the less fortunate out there, and I know what the majority of Bahamians are going through in this country. So I apologize, okay, because I was chosen to come and speak for the less fortunate, okay? And I get emotional because I know that as a country, as the Bahamas, which is one of the richest countries in the world, there's nowhere in the world that we have to be living like this in this country with all of these statistics pointing to the destruction of the bombers, and all of this is that everyone is okay with this. Oh, I with Brave Davis or I with Michael Bentat. All of them are exceptionally great human beings, okay? But you got to understand, you got a country to save. You got lives to save. You talk about this Christian. What Christian is supposed to be? What's the church's job? The church is to go out there and change people's lives. To turn sinners away from doing wicked things, right? They become law-abiding citizens, okay? So I just want to apologize to the listening audience and those who listen to the show and listen to Guardian. I apologize. But I just want you to know that I've been doing this for over 30 years. And I've done this freely, given the government many solutions, and many solutions are being passed in Parliament. It's passed in Parliament, but yet still we are not enforcing them. It's crazy. So, again, I apologize for my bad behavior. It's only because I care about my country. I see what's about to happen. I know what's coming for our country. Every one of us in this country is going to be crying for a loved one who is going to be a victim of rape, who is going to be murdered, who is never going to have a chance to fulfill their dreams like a VJ Edgecombe or Buddy Hill or DeAndre Ayton. Only the very few who go and have the opportunity and are able to succeed. But that could be an opportunity for many of our citizens of this country if our government just focus and start to invest more in our inner city communities and in programs that are going to be beneficial. We're giving our MPs $150,000 a year. What $150,000 could do for an MP like Mr. Watson, who does a good job in being in Grandstand? But what can he do with $150,000 when the government is signing contracts for hundreds of millions? But yet still they're only investing like $1 million into funds for the whole cabinet ministers. To do what? Huh? To do what? All these statistics. And the Guardian did a wonderful job. This is what I love this edition of the Nassau Guardian today. 1 in 5 teens attempted suicide. Data shows a medical health crisis amongst teens, officially said. Alcohol use amongst teens at a crisis level. 3 out of 4 teens who bought alcohol never asked to show ID. More teens engage in unprotected sex. Last but least, I'm going right now. New figures from the Ministry of Health have revealed that while fewer Bahamian teens are having sex compared to years prior, a large percentage are having unprotected sex. The Global School Health Report 2025 provides results from a survey of 2,213 students in 35 public schools and private schools across 8 islands: New Providence, Grand Bahama, again, Andres, Abaco, Berry Islands, Eleuthera, Exuma, and Inagua. It found that in 2023, 28% of the teens reported having sex compared to 41% of 1998. And this is our time. 1998 is our time, and it's get worse. And again, I apologize on behalf of Guardian Radio. I represent the people in this country less fortunate. And like I said, I have the set example. I just get emotional, people. I'm one of the nicest persons in the world, but I get emotional because I know we could do better in this country. And I apologize for my comments when it comes to those words tonight. And to the kids, I'm very passionate. I'm fighting for you guys, all of you. I'm fighting for the old. I'm fighting for the young. I'm fighting for the Bahamas because I see the problems we face in this country. All of those things that was in the Nassau Guardian today, in the newspaper, shows you the problems we're in. And none of this has been a national topic. So again, I apologize for my bad behavior. And I'm the host, Valentino Brown, host of the talk show Inside the Inner City that premieres every Friday at 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Guardian Radio. And again, thank you for listening to all the callers. You guys did a wonderful job of calling in and giving your input, which is very, very important. Again, I'm not a certified doctor, but I'm well educated and I can read between the lines. And there's no one in this country who can put together all of these statistics that was in the newspaper and tell you what we are facing in the country today. So on behalf of National Guardian and myself,